my time as a exec chef there as a failure. Like I walked out of there with my tail between my legs because like this place had a hat and 2 hats and you just lost it like that. Like the hell. I think especially because I helped gain those 2 hats as one of Sean's chefs, and then I just kind of threw it away. I think I also learned there, most importantly, is cook the food that people want to eat. I brought in there a rendition of Filipino food that I thought people were going to understand, but it was way too artistic and cloudy that even Filipinos weren't understanding it. But then non-Filipinos were kind of just like, the hell is this? Like, it's meant to taste good. It's meant to like, it was confused. It was confusing. In a way, I forgot to cook for the customer, the guest. And I started cooking for my own kind of like creative ego.
Yeah.
It's like top 2 ice cream. Oh, top 3.
Oh,
It's my mom's favorite ice
It's so
that's
yummy.
that's the biggest compliment.
Yeah. I never had a bad ice cream.
Oh,
All your
great.
flavors are good.
Amazing.
I love the ube one.
Yeah,
Texture
yeah.
of it is
That's-
so hectic.
We ever said if we ever wanted to just go out of business, we'll just take that off. Because we sell so much of it.
Yeah.
Like, it'd become a...
It's become like your whole thing.
Yeah.
Milo Dinosaur is like elite as well.
Yeah. We
So good.
I think
Sneak it
I
back
fought some of my partners to keep that on because it's so expensive to make, but
Is
it's
it?
just
Why?
so good. Just chocolate's gone up in prices
right,
and
right.
everything, and but I'm like, it's Milo,
Yeah.
it's gonna sell,
Yeah.
you know. So
And you've even got the Milo Dinosaur cake thing.
yeah. So that came from that, just needing to have like a chocolate cake, gelato cake.
Yeah.
That was yeah, we got the molds in just for that, make it look like an actual block, and we wanted to paint it green to evoke like the Milo can.
Yeah.
It all turned out pretty cool,
So sick.
and it's delicious.
Yeah. You sell a lot
Fun
of cake? Sell a lot?
Sorry,
You sell a lot of the cake?
it's seasonal,
Right.
so like Easter comes along, Christmas comes along, and we're selling so much. But then in between, it's kind of like it's there if you need it for a special occasion, but. Yeah, it's not like our bread and butter is always the scoops, and because it's like less labor and everything as well to get into a cup.
Better.
That's what we push. But if if you're got a little celebration, you can
For sure.
get one of those.
Yeah, I might get
Should have brought one.
something here.
I don't know. I should have brought one.
John Rivera. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for
Been
having me.
actually a really long time coming. I've spoken to you also not about the podcast before. I think I just DM'd you guys at Askal, unless you don't manage the Askal socials.
No. I do have a look. Yeah. I think I remember you guys reaching out, helping out with our media.
Yeah.
Because you think you guys take care of some of our friends in the restaurant game as well. Yeah.
Which one?
You were taking care of Doju.
Doju, yeah.
You were, yeah.
Okay.
There's a few people there that like it's
Oh.
so long ago that, yeah.
Sure.
Who else you guys take care of now?
We got a lot of clients,
Corey.
man. Curry, ice cream.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I saw.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
because
elite.
we were just saying within ourselves in Kariton that we really like the new direction that they're taking with their branding and their marketing. So
That's us.
big ups, man. That was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. We went
Yeah.
hard on that. That was really fun. It actually felt really natural
Mm.
doing that because it was just kind of like just got a bunch of our friends together and kind of
Yeah.
like I don't know, just made cool
Cool
stuff.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
it wasn't really like it looks. The production value is high and it looks. I feel like from the outside it looks like we put like it was so crazy, but I think because
Yeah.
it was something that was really authentic, like to us as individuals at the
Yeah.
agency, it just like made sense.
Yeah. It feels like friends hanging out, like a shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe there.
And that's kind of what we said as well. Like it just feels really natural. It doesn't feel forced. It feels authentic with their brand, and they're a really cool brand, and you see that kind of being communicated. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you.
well done.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Bernard.
Awesome.
Shout out Bernard as well.
Bernard's awesome.
It's so cool. Love
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah.
And Joe as well.
Funnily
Yeah,
enough,
that's
last time I was hosting a podcast was with Bernard. And we've come full circle now. Yeah.
I know, and that was ages ago.
That was ages ago. That was long.
Yeah,
So
that was
long
like
ago.
almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bernard's awesome. Like I really used to look up to him when he had Lux Bite, back in the day.
Yeah.
And just to kind of go through that journey of idolizing him to becoming friends with him and like being able to share ideas, it's just awesome. He's just a super chill guy.
That's what I mean. Like he's like, it's so beautiful that you had that journey, and you know, like you guys could maybe compare like his journey to your journey, something like that. That's awesome. But like he's just like that kind of guy that, you know, you don't ever feel out of your depth with him or anything like that. He's just like so cute.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk a little bit about like your journey?
Mm-hmm.
Who you were, grew up in the Philippines.
Yeah, so I was born in the Philippines.
Yeah.
In the height of the corruption. I probably shouldn't say that on the pod. No, so like, you know, a lot of people kind of left the Philippines in the early 90s, mid 90s. So my parents took up the opportunity to move to New Zealand.
Right.
So I lived there for 10 years, from like 96, 97, 90 to about 2005. We moved here to Melbourne. So I started my high school here as the token Kiwi dude.
Hell yeah.
You know, everyone's asking me to say fish and chips and stuff. I kind of lost the accent. Apparently, it comes out here and there. And then, yeah, kind of, I've always really been into cooking and food. Like I was a chubby kid. I think naturally as a Filipino, you love food. And I gravitated towards it. So, you know, back then we had Foxtel. I'd always be watching Food Network instead of Cartoon Network and kind of immersing myself in that. And I guess as a learner through high school, like I wasn't a bad student, but my style of learning is by seeing and doing. And I knew I couldn't go through like another 4 years of like university.
Right. Okay.
Just sitting in front of a lecturer, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I took the plunge, and my parents weren't too pleased. Because they're like, why aren't you going to university, get a degree?
Very classic Filipino.
Well, I wanted to actually drop out in year 10. I'm like, well, I don't need my ATAR score. Like, let me drop out. Let me start cooking. Thankfully, I stayed till year 12 because I say to a lot of guys now, like, I don't think you should drop out at year 10 because you'll never get year 11, year 12 back. Like those experiences, those times with your mates. I think especially going into the industry where you work a lot of weekends, you work a lot of nights. Like when you're 17, 18, that's when you kind of start having or forming a social life. So I tell a lot of guys like go through that, and then when you're 18, take the plunge because another 2 years ain't gonna change much.
Not for the schooling. For the experience of hanging out with
Yeah.
boys, basically. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Because there's plenty of time to work later, but being 17 and 18, it's very
100%.
different to being older. Like me, I'm only 27, but
Yeah.
I feel like last year and this year, in terms of who I was as a person, was very similar. Whereas between 17 and 18, you're like 3 or 4 different people in that time
100%.
period. And you should go through that being surrounded by a lot of your friends
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, yeah, as you said, you'll be working for 40, 50, God willing, 60 years,
Yeah.
right, of your life. But you'll never get year 11, year 12 back. You know,
Yeah.
just the fun you have and the fun that I had. So yeah, thankfully I stayed. But yeah, I still didn't want to go to uni. I still didn't want to get a degree. I almost wanted to be the black sheep of the family and like, screw the medical field.
Are your parents in medicine?
My dad used to be a doctor
Right.
in the Philippines. My mum was a medical technician in the Philippines. My sister now, she's a medical transcriptionist.
Okay.
When my dad
What's
moved...
that? So crazy.
I just say yes.
Yeah.
And then when we moved here, my dad was a blood collector.
Okay.
I just kind of wanted to break that mold that Filipinos, to succeed, have to be a nurse, a doctor, an accountant, an engineer.
How did you finally convince them, or did you convince them?
Nah, I'm the type of guy that doesn't really ask for permission, which got me in trouble a lot.
Yeah.
But I kind of just said, take it or leave it.
Mm.
Like I want to study to become a chef, or I'm not gonna do anything else.
And from that's a very resolute way to be as a 16, 18-year-old. Why were you so sure of yourself?
I think because it was something that I obsessed with, that I love, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else. If I'm immersing myself in that from like 14 years old, 13 years old, then why what else? I think I should also add that my first job was at KFC. So from 14 years old, I was already kind of in the hospitality industry of sorts. And I think like going into the hospitality industry, my first job was a waiter at Rockpool. I fell in love with it even more working the front and actually seeing the whole art of it, the whole discipline of it. And from then on, I just kept going.
With Rockpool, did you start? That they obviously are performing at a different level to KFC, right?
Yeah,
that's obvious.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Is that what started making you fall in love with it? Were you like, because Rockpool is a higher end restaurant? Were you like, this is me? Like, I can tell people here they're taking food seriously. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think growing up also, I played a lot of sport. It's not obvious now, but I did used to play a lot of competitive basketball. That dream was shattered when I didn't grow past 5'7", as most Filipinos do not. But I guess it instilled this like competitiveness in me, that I loved just being in high level elite kind of environments.
You like to hustle.
I love to hustle.
Yeah,
I love to hustle. I love kind of that I want to be better the next day mentality. Competitive with other people, but more so competitive with myself. Like, how much more can I improve the next day from today? That's still a mindset that I have to this day. Like, my wife will catch me daydreaming. She's like, "What are you thinking about now?" Because she just knows that I'm analyzing something in my head. How can we make fried rice better, for example? So going into somewhere so high end, I think just matched with my personality. I was young. I had heaps of energy. Like I was a bull waiting to get out of the cage or whatever matador bulls I kept in, and to kind of finally be within arm's reach of some of the best hospitality professionals to do it. I loved it. I thrived in that, and it just kept feeding that competitiveness within myself to be better every day.
It's amazing. It's a good mindset to have. Wait, how did you move from front of house to kitchen?
I reluctantly did after I finished my my TAFE course. So after high school, I went to William Angliss. I studied patisserie full time for 1.5 years, and during that time, I was working front of house. So yeah, I started off as a polisher, which is like one step to the side of a kitchen hand. So we used to go through, I think, thousands of cutlery and glasses and plates every day at Rockpool. So there'd be like 3 of us just like wiping plates down. Like literally for 6 hours, you just polish it. It's never ending. It's crazy.
That sounds like such a crazy job. Did you hate it or did you love it?
I loved it just because I was. You hear those sights and you hear those sights. What the hell? You hear those sounds. You see those sights that you've always like been dreaming of, and you're there. And for me, I knew I was using that as a stepping stone to go further. Like my foot's in. I just got to show how hard I'm going to work to eventually get to the next rung on the ladder. And eventually it happened. Like one of the managers tapped me on the side, like, "Hey, next week we're going to take you out of there. You're going to start writing food to the guests." And I was like, "Cool. I don't know what that means, but I'll show up next week."
How far did you think you could take it?
I don't know. I think I was kind of just taking it day by day. Like as a young kid, I always had big dreams of like, where will my career go? Will I be this like lauded 3 Michelin star chef or whatever? Like you just dream as big as you can dream. But in terms of my job at the time, I was like, all right, I'm there. Like, let's see where I can go from there. And after I think a couple of months of just running food out, I was helping people. I was helping the waiter at the station actually managing tables. And by the end of me actually working front of house, I was handling sections, which is like, I look back now and I got to pat myself on the back because at 18, 19 years old, to be handling a section at Rockpool Bar and Grill in Crown, like, it's crazy. I don't think I would trust 18-year-old me with that. And I saw a lot of the wine side, the beverage side, the service side. I had a lot of great mentors in the front of house leadership team there too. And the money's great. The tips are great. The hours are great. Depending who you talk to, the hours are great. I had that choice when I graduated. Like, do I actually pursue my dream of becoming a chef, or do I keep working in front of house? And like some of the managers were like, think of the money. So reluctantly, leaving the money to the side, I went into the kitchen
At Rockpool.
at Rockpool. Yes.
Okay.
I managed to get my foot in there as well.
Yeah.
Kind of planting seeds all throughout that time with the pastry chef. Like, hey, are you gonna let me work for you eventually?
What was that transition like? Was it hard?
Yeah, it was humbling because I was all of a sudden in my mind like, I'm this overachiever in the front of house.
Right.
And then I still remember my first day in the kitchen. I had this like really small prep list to do, and I bloody went down like a sack of shit.
Right.
And my chef said to me like, that should have been done in like 2 hours. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you couldn't get it done in how long?
Oh, and like my whole shift, like 8 hours. Like,
But they didn't tell you. Did they train you before on how to do it, or you just went
no,
in?
like, but it was all very like, I look back, it's all very simple stuff that I should have known from cooking school.
Yeah.
But
Was the
it's
pressure?
different. There is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of pressure because cooking school, when you're learning, you have that safety net of like, yeah, I can mess this up. We'll just throw it out later on. But now it's like, you need to get this done. You got one shot. And if you don't do it right, a whole day's ruined.
Yeah.
So that was really humbling. But I think like I had enough resolve and like drive to want to get better the next day. So I showed up, wanting to fix my mistakes, wanting to get better. I love that feedback, even though how harsh it is. I guess I was used to harsh feedback playing competitive sport. So I came back the next day and I'm like, all right, cool. You think I'm slow? I'm going to get faster.
I love that.
Well, it's a mindset that you got to have if you want to get better. I showed up first every day because I really like, for example, the kind of showpiece dessert at Rockpool was this pavlova. And I remember when I'd kind of rock up we'd start at 8 and I'd rock up at 8. My head pastry chef was already there getting started on pavlovas. Said, can you teach me that one day? I said, yeah, I'll teach you. Kind of weeks passed and I realized that he would get there early to start it. So if I wanted to learn it, I had to get there earlier than him.
Yeah.
So it was one time I rocked up at like 7:15, like ready to go, waiting for him, and he walked in and I said, you're teaching me pavlova today. And every day I rocked up earlier than him so that I would be able to do the pavlova. That was like the mindset that I just had from young. Like, if you're not going to show me, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to take it.
That's it.
Where did that like kind of mindset and drive come from? Like, did you see your parents hustling that hard as well? Did that rub off on you?
I think like inherently it just rubbed off on me. I look back now and I realize how hard immigrant parents have it. So, like, yeah, my parents gave up comfortable careers, comfortable lives in the Philippines. With their salary and with their careers, they could afford a helper to take care of the kids, do the laundry, do the dishes, all that stuff. So that all they did was make money and enjoy it. When we moved to New Zealand, my mum like lost a lot of weight because she just realized how much housework there is to do and taking care of like I was like 3 at the time, and I've got a 3-year-old now, and I look at my mum like, how the fuck did you do this? without a tablet, without technology?
Yeah, I think of that now too, because my mum had a business too.
Yeah,
She had a business when she was like 26, and that's when she had my sister, and then she also like 4 years later had me, and it's like you had the business, had the mortgage, and you also had 2 kids like under the age of 4. What?
Yeah. Yeah,
like I'm trying to think of my mental bandwidth right now, having just Heart Media and like trying to all see like my family and my friends and my girlfriend. And it's like, man, if I had a kid in the mix, I would be screwed. There's no chance I'm managing that. It's crazy.
Yeah, so like I saw that with my parents kind of, but then also, doing it tough coming to a new country. Like, luckily Filipinos know how to speak English, but at the same time, it's still alienating to be in a new country with no friends, no support system. Like, we take it for granted how close our parents are to be able to just call them, like, and they'll pick up. Back then, you have to get like a special card and like call that number to connect you to the Philippines and stuff.
You can just like FaceTime.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy. So I think that rubbed off on. We saw that growing up. My sister and I, like how hard they worked, and I guess also from a young age, our parents instilled in us like nothing's gonna get given to you for free. I got no allowance growing up. There was at one point I used to get like $1 a day, but then even then that was taken away from me because like they were saving up to finally buy a house here in Australia. But I think there was a lot of tough love as well between my my parents and I, because I was a bit of the black sheep, and I kind of
You were naughty.
Sorry,
were you naughty?
Some would say. Yes, some would say. Maybe more cheeky than naughty. But I remember one day, like, my mum used to make my lunch. So, like, she'd make me, I don't know, whatever sandwich. Let's just say, like, cheese sandwich. And I didn't eat it. And then I knew I was going to get in trouble if my mum saw my bag and I didn't eat it. So before I got in, I chucked it in the bin outside.
Rookie move. Should have chucked it out and been at school.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
I know.
to say.
I know. So she comes home. She looks at the bin. And there was nothing in there but my lunch. She comes in and she just absolutely rips me a new one. She's like, you know what? From now on, you can make your own lunch. Since you don't want to eat my lunch, you can make your own lunch. And like the first day, I think I kind of called her bluff. So I went to school with no lunch. So then, like, I think from then on, like, it was just kind of like learning to fend for yourself, learning to provide for yourself, and understanding that nothing comes for free.
I've never actually really thought about that, but I think it's maybe teaching your kids little bits of capability. Because even like something small, like, because my mom used to stop making my lunch when I was like, even went to high school. I made it like all through high school, and it's like it's not like a big thing, but when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's like it's that little bit of trust and just like belief in yourself that you could do this if you wanted to. You know what I mean? You're just like learning more life skill and just teaching you that, like, if you need to figure out something, you can figure it out yourself. And maybe that's what helps you later, like little things like that, because there's obviously a bunch of them. Help you later on in your life with kind of like having confidence going into things like business ventures or
I think it's that independence, right? my mum used to always gaslight us of like, what would you do if I was gone?
Shout out to mums for gaslighting us.
Shout out to Asian mums who gaslight. I'm sure you've copped that too. It's like,
I'm getting
what are you
PTSD.
going to do when I am gone? Huh? Why? Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it taught me that independence, and they pushed me to get a job as soon as I turned 14 and 9 months. Like go earn your money then. Like go earn your money.
And that's very that's not normal for Filipinos as well to have a job that early.
Really?
Like when I got a job in high school, I was probably like 16, 17, and that was late. A lot of my friends had a job at 14.
Yeah.
And I told my parents like, oh, everyone else is getting a job, like I should get one too. And they're like, why did you need to get a job? Like,
I needed your parents now. I love you, mum, dad. I love you.
Like for me, that
Filipino
was
culture is a bit like
like you stay at home till like you're
and
28.
Do the parents
29.
give you money, or where do you get your money from?
Yeah, I got like an allowance. Like it wasn't a lot, but like yeah. This is before I got a job.
Are you the youngest?
I'm an only.
You're the only.
Yeah.
Oh, you got even better.
Maybe that's why.
This guy's rocking it.
Maybe that's why. But, yeah.
So I was the youngest, so like, I feel like my sister copped most of it, and I think they're a bit more lenient with me. But yeah, no, you're right. Like there's I have friends and I know people who kind of never moved out and learned how to wash their own jocks, So
For real.
Yeah.
Let's get back. Rockpool.
We tangent.
That was an elite tangent.
Yeah.
Rockpool, you're in the kitchen, learning the pavlova. So you're in there as a dessert chef, obviously, because that's what you wanted to be trained as.
Yeah.
And then what's happening? Where does your career go next?
I thought I wanted to be a pastry chef after watching Adriano Zumbo on MasterChef, like when it was like Elite MasterChef.
No way, OG MasterChef.
OG MasterChef. Adriano Zumbo came out with the croquembouche, and I was like,
everyone's
that's
like...
what I want to be. Yeah. But I also thought that would give me a better work-life balance because I'd go to work in the morning and like finish in the arvo.
True.
And then, I can do whatever I want at night. But then I ended up in restaurants, and I loved that. I loved how every day was different. You meet different people and you see different things. And there's one chef that I worked with at Rockpool, Robbie Bell, who now owns City Larder. He kind of turned to me. He's like, "Well, you're 18, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He just wanted to do pastry. I said, "I think so." And he kind of just looks at me in the eye and is like, "Why are you putting all your eggs in one basket?"
He subtly started shading. Like, pastry's all right.
Yeah, pastry's all right. But you want to, in a way, you want to come here with with
the real guys.
With the real guys, yeah. Not that way. Like, you want to come here with us. We're the rock stars. And he did have a point because he said, learn savory, learn all that stuff, learn that discipline. And if at the end of the day, you still love pastry, you can always go back to it. And I'm so thankful for that piece of advice because it was so true. So after working at Rockpool Bar and Grill here in Melbourne, I asked to get transferred to Sydney, the original, the fine dining Rockpool with Phil Wood back in the day, because I just really wanted to get into fine dining. I wanted to get into a 3-hat environment.
Was Rockpool 3 hats at the time?
The Sydney original one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty confusing. So there's Rockpool Bar and Grill, which is like the kind of steakhouse.
More casual.
More, not really casual, but kind of a different cuisine.
Yeah.
But that started becoming more popular than the original Rockpool, which was more kind of Asian and French fine dining. So
I never knew.
At the time, Phil Wood was the head chef, and he was this like young gun of Australian cooking, and a lot of people wanted to go over there and work for him and see the stuff that he was doing. And yeah, I went into that kitchen, and I was like, oh, I thought Rockpool Bar and Grill was like elite. This is a whole nother step up, and the hours were crazy, but I loved it. But the cooking and everything was just elevated so much further. So I worked there. I started off there as in pastry and doing all the bread, and I learned a lot there because that was the first time I properly made bread with my hands, like literally hands. And then after a few months, I just asked Chef Phil, like, hey, can I just have a run over in Lada? Sorry, the one thing I used to do as well, because pastry in there never used to kick off until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I would finish all of my bread prep, finish all my pastry prep, like smash it out early, so that around 6 o'clock, 6:30, I could help some of the boys in on the savory section. I'd just be like, hey, do you need a hand?
Yeah.
Like, can I do something for you? And I would pester them, like, find something for me to do, because I just want to help you. And once again, like, getting my foot in there, like, not wanting to be shown, but taking the opportunity. So yeah, I said, hey chef, just give me a run on the larder. I'm like, I want to learn, I want to do something different. So yeah, eventually he put me onto the savory side. And that was the last time I ever looked at pastry again. This was like 2014 until I think we opened Kariton.
Wow.
Because I just loved it. I'm really happy I did pastry first, because it's so scientific and so methodical and calculated, that I think it helped me understand the mechanics more of savory cooking, which is a bit more instinctual. But now going back to trying to do pastry, I'm kind of the worst, because I'll just add a pinch of salt here, a pinch of salt there. So when we started Kariton, like,
I love salt.
He's a salt guy.
Yeah,
He's a salt guy.
the salt guy.
Yeah.
When we started Kariton, when we had to like eventually make 100-liter batches, when we do a test batch, my business partner was like, you can't just add a pinch of salt. You need to weigh it by the gram, so then we can multiply it by like 100 or something. And I'm like, guess we're trying this again, aren't we?
When did you decide or think that you wanted to start your own kind of thing? And why was it ice cream? Yeah, ice cream.
I think it was around 2018. After so I left Rockpool around 2016, and I left kind of big restaurant groups altogether by then. So
by choice, like you didn't want to work with big restaurant groups?
I think like subconsciously by choice. I just kind of saw how what smaller restaurants were doing, and like how focused that was. So coming back to Melbourne from Sydney, I did a stage at Attic, I did a stage at Bray, where it's a much smaller team.
You staged there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had this mindset that if I'm going back to Melbourne, I have to work somewhere that's also 3 hats, or else I'm kind of working down.
Yeah.
I just realized that those places weren't for me.
Why is that?
Well, Bray is like 2 hours
That's
away.
far,
And
yeah.
I left Sydney because I started getting homesick. I miss my family, miss my friends. And so for me to go back out to the country would just be counterintuitive to the reason I moved back. I think Attica, because at the time there was a lot of, they had a lot of stagiaires as well. So they had a full stagiaire program. I just thought it was still too big of a kitchen. And that was when Lume was opening with Sean Quaid, and it was only like kind of 2 or 3 months in. So I applied, I got a call, asked me to come for an interview. And then, kind of went from there. I started there, and he was doing a lot of, well, he was the only person kind of doing this wacky molecular gastronomy kind of stuff, like making one thing look like another.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool, and I really wanted to learn that side of
Creative.
things.
I think that would have also spoken to your pastry background as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very methodical and a bit more of a kind of exact science for savory.
Yeah, Sean is an incredible pastry chef too.
Yeah.
And he has the mind of a pastry chef, and he executes it like a savory chef. So it was an amazing amalgamation of that thinking, and hardest place I've ever worked. Hardest place.
Why?
Just long hours, like opening. I mean, I've opened a restaurant now, and I know how hard that is, but that was as close to opening a restaurant as I could experience.
Without actually being the owner
With that,
of it.
yeah. Well, yeah, but at that point of my career, that was the first time I ever came that close to a restaurant opening. So they were still trying to figure out systems, they're still trying to figure out what menu worked and this and that. Long days, like 8 o'clock start, 8 a.m. start, 1, 2 a.m. finish.
Wow.
You do that for 5 days.
Right.
But then also at that point, half of the restaurant was this 18-course tasting menu, and then the other half was this like wine bar. So you're getting kind of like double-ended, like it's getting smashed.
Yeah.
And that was the one place that literally almost broke me. There was this one dish that we do, the cauliflower cheese. So you make cauliflower puree, you add a few little different like setting agents, gelling agents.
Yeah.
And then you wrap it to look like a piece of brie, like a little brie.
Okay.
And then at a certain course, you put it in the dehydrator so that it gets really soft and gooey, but it holds itself. So there's the ingredient's called gelan. It allows you to heat it up, but it holds its structure. Being a young chef and never working with this before, I didn't know that you had to like really boil gelan to activate it. So there was one service where all my cauliflower cheeses were literally just melting like in the dehydrator. And this was our signature dish. And I got the spray of the century. I stayed till like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. making a new batch for the next day. And I said to myself, if this doesn't work tomorrow, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to be a real estate agent or some shit like that.
Right.
Because I'm done.
Thankfully. You can see it on this guy. Real estate.
Hey.
Even a suit.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Thankfully, or I don't know. It worked. So I stayed. And that was the only time that I feel like something was about to break me.
But then you wanted to exec chef that restaurant, right?
Yeah.
You led that, and then you got 2 hats.
It had 2 hats.
You maintained.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. So after that, I moved to Amaru, a much smaller kitchen as well. And that was the place that I actually thought I wanted to own my own small restaurant. Just because working with Clinton and seeing his passion and seeing how that would actually work. And I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to open my small little fine diner. I want to own it. I had the name Askal ever since then. But then I got tapped back on the shoulder by Sean after I did the San Pellegrino Young Chef competition. Like, hey, I'm going to move on. Do you want to be the exec chef? And I said, well, this opportunity is not going to come around again. I took it. I was definitely way too young and way too immature and way too...
How old are you at the time?
27. Yeah, way too inexperienced to take on that role. But I was on cloud 9. I was on top of the world because being at the San Pellegrino Young Chef competition, it was like a 50 minutes of fame because I was rubbing shoulders with like Virgilio Martinez, Dominique Crenn, Massimo Bottura. Like you felt like you're some sort of celebrity. Yeah, you felt like you're the guy, right? So I took on the job kind of with like all hope and no experience. And I learned a lot of hard lessons there. That was it. So it was 2 hats, and like I still remember like wondering where my invitation was to the Good Food Guide. And it never came. And I'm like, oh. And for the longest time I denied it to myself, like, oh, I definitely got a hat. I definitely got a hat at least. And just to like not even score a hat. Not that it's like the end of the world, but it was such a humbling experience because you're like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I am. And there was a lot of other things that happened at Lume that kind of burnt me as an individual. I learned a lot of things there, being in charge of what I don't want my venue to be, or I don't want my leadership to be, or I don't want my ownership to be.
What's that like?
Like,
what don't you want to be?
I don't want to be the guy that doesn't pay their staff or their suppliers. I don't want to be the guy that constantly lies to the staff and manipulates them. Like, look, everyone's seen. I think most people have seen what the fallout was like with that restaurant and that owner. So I don't really want to touch on it.
Yeah.
But
No, I wanted to
yeah.
know more. I saw it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch more on like your personal takings from the thing. We're not trying to drag
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? I just wanted to know more based on your experience, what you learned. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like, that's the operational side. Like I don't want to be that crook of a boss.
Yeah.
I also realized how I don't want to be as a manager and a leader. I think I let the pressure of the job take over me, and in a way, I guess my behavior was a little bit destructive to the morale and to what the work was like. So that's kind of what I've took on moving forward. I say to people like, I see my time as a exec chef there as a failure. Like I walked out of there with my tail between my legs, because like this place had a hat and 2 hats and you just lost it like that. Like the hell. I think especially because I helped gain those 2 hats as one of Sean's chefs, and then I just kind of threw it away. I think I also learned there, most importantly, is cook the food that people want to eat. I brought in there a rendition of Filipino food that I thought people were going to understand, but it was way too artistic and cloudy that even Filipinos weren't understanding it. But then non-Filipinos were kind of just like, the hell is this? Like, it's meant to taste good. It's meant to like...
Too.
It was confused. It was confusing. In a way, I forgot to cook for the customer, the guest, and I started cooking for my own kind of like creative ego.
What was going to be ahead, as you are leaving that restaurant, and what's the difference, now with how you kind of would deal with failures?
Yeah,
I guess compared like with everything that you've learned in your career now, opposed to then.
I definitely did not want to be back in the industry. So thankfully, like after start of 2020, I already had my wedding booked over in the Philippines, so I was gonna take a month off anyway. So that I finished off at Lume December 2019. Jetted off to the Philippines, got married, and enjoyed time with family and friends. And I remember sitting poolside with my wife, kind of in a little mini honeymoon. It's like, I don't think I want to cook anymore. I think it was more because of my embarrassment of having to face the music of people saying like, oh, this guy bombed it.
Yeah.
But coming back, I had nothing else to do. So I went back in and kind of just, I worked at Sunda, I worked with Khan, and I said, look, I just want to chef the party role. I don't want anything to like out there. I just want to cook and do all that.
Right.
But I think COVID was great. You're never going to hear that on another podcast ever again. COVID was great because for a lot of chefs whose minds go like 0 to 100 and they have these blinders on, it forced us to just like sit down and analyze what's like, and just stop and look like what's going on. Where am I going? And I felt like that was such a regenerative, just
pivotal moment.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's I got to analyze why I failed and how I failed to be better, and to, I guess, to accept that failure. That I fucking bombed there, but that doesn't mean that's not going to define me for the rest of my career. So yeah, I kind of just picked myself up. We saw this opportunity during COVID to just do something, and it was kind of like through our own boredom that we said we need to do something, or else we're just going to sit on our ass playing Sims all day.
Right.
I got pretty good at Sims. How do you get good at Sims? I don't know. So me and my friend Min were just like, well, how about we just make some gelato at my boss's factory, and we'll see what we can do with it. And did a couple trial flavors. Like our first flavors were the ube halaya, which we still have on. Buko pandan we still have on. Turon we still have on. We also did calamansi, sorbet, and cheese. Cheese we still have on. So 4 of the 5 original flavors that we started with, we still serve in our Kariton stores. And we said, look, let's just give it a go. It means that we get to get out of the house and do something. So got some friends, put together some branding, printed some stuff up, launched it on Instagram. And when we thought that we were just going to do like 100 tubs a week to do something, we ended up realizing that there's a massive gap and niche in the market. Like Southeast Asians love dessert, but very rarely do they have a dessert that speaks to their flavor.
I agree.
So first week we had like 750 tubs ordered. We needed, like my dad started working for us. Min's mum worked for us. We got 3 friends, just like we used to load up all the tubs we churned in sunshine. Like it used to look like a freaking drug drop in like the fucking movies. Because like 5 dudes would just rock up, pop their boots open, and there'd be styrofoam boxes, and we'd be loading up these like styrofoam tubs. I'm like, go, drive as fast as you can before this melts. And
that's crazy. The logistics on that are insane.
Oh man, like it was the most cowboy logistics ever.
Was it always frozen? Like, was it all right?
Yeah. Like we had the logistics down to an absolute T. Like worked out how to conserve the temperature. And we were running, the freezers we were running in the garages were set as low as possible.
Yeah.
And then, so when we used to get like Providor or like HelloFresh or like any of those boxes from COVID, we used to keep all the ice packs.
Yeah.
So we had like, we amounted so many ice packs that just like shove it, just any loose air, shove an ice pack in there so we'd retain the temperature.
Yeah.
But because there's no one on the roads, we'd just be flooring it. So I think I got from like Sunshine West to Ringwood in like 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
And it was just a joy. For me, it was just joy to be out.
Yeah.
Also,
that's good though. You would have been feeling good. You get a bit of momentum behind your idea, proof of concept. People like it. Also, people in COVID, they're so bored. Like they'll buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Primarily we just wanted to kind of bring some joy into people's houses, and
nice.
But yes, you're right. It was pretty much paid market research.
Yeah.
Because we knew, like, I knew that every week I'm going to go to Doncaster with like 6 stops.
Yeah. Or
I'm going to go to like Caroline Springs with like 11 or something. Yeah. So kind of as time went on and we saw how popular it was, we just said, well, are we really just going to go back to our regular jobs, or are we going to follow this along? And thankfully we did. All the money that we saved up throughout that delivery time, we put into opening our first store in Footscray. And that was another kind of big leap, because we know we're popular, we know we're popular on Instagram, but it's just with the crowd that we've built. So we had doubts, even upon opening our doors for the first time, we had doubts that maybe everyone else won't get what we're doing. And that's kind of where, I guess, Filipino food and culture, that's where their thinking was back in like 2020 or before. Like, what if people don't get it? Because I don't know about you, but growing up, like when I had like non-Filipino friends come over for my birthday party, my mum would always be like, here's the lumpia, here's the spring rolls, here's the lechon, here's the Filipino spaghetti, here's the fried chicken. And all the real Filipino food would be kept at the back with the aunties, and like, that's where the family would get it, like the blood stew, the peanut oxtail stew, the kare-kare, the dinuguan, all that stuff. But then even all the stuff that we'd eat for dinner every day, like adobo, tinola, sinigang, like we never fed that to you guys because we just don't know if you're going to like it. And yeah, up to the point that we opened the doors, we just didn't know whether people were gonna buy this purple gelato by the scoop.
And then?
So we actually had two specials. We ran with two specials on our first week. A vanilla, just in case, and the Milo Dinosaur, because we needed a chocolate flavor.
Right.
We sold quite a bit of Milo Dinosaur. The vanilla didn't get touched. The ube, we were at one point, we were serving it straight out of the machine. Like, we were going through hundreds of liters of it. Remember, like, the first week we used to close at like 9:30. We would sell out by 8 o'clock, and people would be driving from like the east side, the north side.
Why was it so popular?
I just think that I think we marketed it well.
Yeah.
I think it was really like appealing and eye-catching. But I think also there was nothing like it in Melbourne at that time. I know now there's a lot more kind of Asian-leaning ice cream places. You got Corey, you've got Hararuya, to name a few. You got Beku, they're like OGs. So people kind of fawning over that, and we were pretty wild with our flavors. Like we took our discipline as a chef and put it into creating gelato. I remember we did one special that was like chicken and waffles. Like we did like maple syrup gelato with candied waffle, and then like I made this spicy chicken skin crumb that goes over the top. And we're a little bit disruptors like that. Like we used to say that we wanted to be the Asian Messina. And
did it work? Did you sell that flavor, the chicken waffle one?
It was a bit of a shock and awe thing. Like people would try it.
Yeah.
Would I bring it back? People ask me like, bring it back, but yeah, it's a shock and awe thing. Like people try it, but they don't. That's not really what you want in ice cream, right?
It's like fluffy torpedo.
Yeah, but I think Fluffy Torpedo executed a lot better. We purely did it for the shock and awe of it. Like it's savory, but it's an ice cream. Whereas like Fluffy Torpedo, like the Vegemite, white chocolate and Vegemite is still one of my favorite
Amazing flavor.
ice creams. I think they're executing it that weird and wacky in a lot more palatable
In a
way.
delicious way, yeah. I always say that when I'm introducing it to people. I'm like, you're gonna like it. The flavors are crazy, but they actually all taste good. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, Fluffy's probably one of my most favorite ice cream places in the city. In Melbourne. I don't go as much now because I'm lactose intolerant. So, fun fact.
Just recently, you became intolerant?
I became lactose intolerant the moment we opened like our first store.
Yeah.
It's bloody annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that, and I think, obviously Kariton has grown into 3 stores here in Melbourne. We have a store up in Sydney now.
When did you get the city store?
When? 2022 still. So 2022. So wait. Xavier was born October 21. I think we opened Footscray in February 22. Then we opened Chinatown October 22. So that same year.
Same, yeah.
We kind of just saw that we needed to grow out of that little Footscray store. That's still my baby. Like I love Footscray more than the other one. Sorry, if you guys are watching this, but sentimental. It's my first thing I ever opened.
You're opening one in the Philippines, right?
Yeah. So right now my business partners are in the Philippines because we're opening Kariton there in the next few months, hopefully. And then we're looking to maybe open 3 stores in Manila. Amazing. Within the next year and a half.
How does that feel that you're able to, you built this thing and then you've taken it back to the Philippines? How does that feel for you?
Oh, it's crazy. I think when we talked about it before, like kind of just brought up in conversation, I always kind of dismissed it like, nah, we can't do that. Like it's just way too big of an operation, way out of our league. And I think with one thing that I always told was learn to work with people that know how to do things better than you, or know how to do things you don't know how to do. So, for example, we brought in with Kariton, we brought in Mike, who he's a little bit older, and that's me flattering him. He's a lot older, But he knows a lot more about business, and he's been around the game a lot more, and he's really taught us a lot with that, and he's given us the confidence to grow that business into more than just one single gelato store. And yeah, it's really cool. I think just we're really proud to be able to bring Kariton back there and show that Filipino brands can be global, right? Well, global, not really global, but you know,
International.
International.
Yeah, you're doing heaps. What's the what if you know, you talked about before, and I found this interesting about, you know, figuring out to like make food that people actually actually want. And I feel like with maybe with Kariton, you, I don't know, it kind of sounds like you are trying to be a bit more edgy, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if those kinds of flavors were the kinds of ones that people would want. What kind of advice would you give to people that if, you know, they're starting something in the food scene and they want to, you know, have asked themselves these kinds of questions?
Yeah, I think so. Kariton taught me, like, I think with fine dining, right? Working in fine dining, you're always servicing like a very niche, small percentage of the population that want to get it. Whereas with Kariton, you're serving the masses, so you almost have to pitch it to the lowest common denominator. Without, you know, that sounding too bad. So our lowest common denominator was my dad. Like, my dad had a very basic palate. He just wanted to, like, something that he could understand and like. And so I guess to answer your question, I think people need to learn, like young chefs need to learn to walk before they run, right? In everything. Set up a good foundation first, right? Know your basics, know what tastes good, know those flavor combinations. It's just like building a house, right? Like, put your slab down first before you put up the windows, before you put out all that stuff, and then you can decorate your house. But don't you need that firm foundation to be able to explore and understand what works. So I don't know if that answered your question.
That does make sense.
But
it did.
I think especially with like the rise of Instagram and social media, people, a lot of young chefs are wanting to rush into creating incredible plates of pretty food, chucking on 50 different techniques that don't need to be there. They
want the fancy stuff without putting in the ground.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, the food needs to make sense. It needs to be delicious, and the recipient needs to understand what you mean by it. And I think that's why the chicken and waffles kind of didn't. It worked, but it didn't work. Right? We tried to be too edgy with something that people just wanted comfort and wanted a good time with. Yeah. That was just way too, like, disruptive.
Of course, yeah.
When the ube itself, I look back, the ube itself is already a little bit more edgy, because at that point no one was doing something like that. But that was perfect because we presented that in a way that people are going to enjoy. Like, you can't hate a scoop of ice cream, and that's the best icebreaker.
Yeah. And and then Askal last year came in hot.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean,
why you did it.
I think as a chef, it's always kind of just your dream to own your own restaurant, and the opportunity arose. A bunch of us got together and we found this really nice site on Exhibition Street, and we just also felt that it was time for Filipino food to start being more prevalent, or Filipino culture to be more prevalent. And we wanted to make a statement by doing that in the middle of the city, announcing to the world that, well, at least to Australia, that Filipino food deserved to be at the same table as the French, Japanese, the Italian.
Why do you think that Filipino food has kind of never been talked about or like risen to popularity as those other Asian cuisines?
I think it's more because of how we are as a people. My parents' generation, were very much taught to kind of they always looked at the West and they always wanted to be more American or more whatever. And then as kids, we were kind of just taught to fit in as well, or taught to assimilate. And Filipinos are great at that. I thought I was bloody Italian from year 7 to year 9 because I hang out with all the Italian guys playing soccer. Until we got to kind of like in our 20s, and I'm like, wait, we're Filipino, but who are we? Like, what makes us different? What makes us special? And I guess my generation's just started to wanted to explore that more, and learn about that more.
Become more proud.
Become more proud. Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's why it's becoming, the fruits of all of that is now you've got this generation of young Filipino creatives, not just even cooks, but in design, in
Video,
in everything. Like, we're really showing off our creativity and who we are. And for me now, I think, well, personally, I'm doing it because I feel like young John never had somebody in the industry or on TV or in books that looked like him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very powerful for a young kid. Like, I can see a Filipino guy or an Asian guy like making it in his field. I can do that too.
Well, it's very inspiring. And I think, like, from my perspective, being obviously like a bit younger than you, like seeing you and like other Filipinos like killing it in the game is very like inspiring for me. So like really like thank you that you're doing this whole thing.
That means a lot. And that's it. Like, at the end of my career, like, if I don't have anyone to pass the baton to, I've kind of failed. Like, that was also like one thing that I needed to accept, kind of, when we conceptualize Askal, like, what was it going to be? Was it going to be this avant-garde, modern Filipino place? But then we looked at the landscape of Melbourne and was like, there's only one other high-end Filipino restaurant, that's Sarai. But apart from that, if you ask one of your Filipino mates, hey, well, like, what's Filipino food? Can you explain to me what it is? No one really knows what to say.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a restaurant that celebrated the authenticity and kind of the rich history and practices of the Filipino cuisine, so that like, if you wanted to bring your friends to a Filipino restaurant, you'd be like, yeah, that's the kare-kare that kind of like I used to eat growing up, or that's like the noodles that I used to have growing up as well. It's pancit canton, and I kind of like to accept that in this city, in this time, that's what I need to do, to be, I guess, a pioneer of Filipino food, or whatever you want to call it.
So what's the distinction? Because I see you guys have a hat.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the difference? Like, what would you say is the distinction between, like you and Sarai, or is that even like you guys are kind of similar in your offering in terms of like the level of the cuisine? Are you guys a bit more rustic?
I wouldn't say we're like rustic. Like, I also don't think that people kind of always pit us and Sarai against each other, and I'm like, why?
Not again.
Yeah, like what? Look, it's like, are you gonna pit two Italian restaurants against each other? Like, no. Just because we're the only really two high-end places in the city, like, we do things a different way. What's authentic to me might be differently authentic to them.
They shouldn't compare the two. You guys are doing two completely different things. But yeah, I was just asking more about, like, in terms of the way that you're thinking, what the offering is.
I think we definitely look at the authentic kind of like cooking styles and flavor combinations and flavor pairings. And I said of the chefs is that that is what we root ourselves into. If we make kare kare, for example, if my mum comes in here or your grandmother or your auntie comes in here, they need to be like, oh yeah, that tastes like kare kare. Because I think, and from my personal experience with my failies at Lume, it's like I would say, oh yeah, this is kind of inspired by kare kare. And then you taste it and you're like, oh yeah, kinda, you've got nuts in it, but you're probably nuts because that doesn't taste like it.
Right.
So that's kind of like the overarching brief of what we do at Askal, is that it needs to stay authentic. It can't be alienating to Filipinos. So whether my mum goes there or like my little niece and nephew go there, when they eat the food, they'll be like, yeah, that tastes like home.
Yeah, that's really good to know, because growing up, like, here in Australia and in New Zealand as well, I always ran into the issue of my parents saying, oh, I can just cook this better at home. Why do we need to go to a Filipino restaurant? So I think that approach is really good. You're still catering to, I guess, that sort of audience, but also still letting it be approachable to people who haven't tried food as well.
And I think we also wanted people, like, obviously Askal's in the higher end, and we'll present something a little bit differently than what you'd have in a neighborhood Filipino restaurant.
Yeah.
But what we wanted overall was you'd eat something at Askal, and I use kare kare all the time as an example because I feel it's the hardest dish to present to non-Filipinos, because if you guys ever Google kare kare and you look at Google images, it looks like a brown sludge.
Yeah.
Like it's appetizing.
What is it?
So it's I should probably start off with that. So kare kare is like a beef oxtail stew. So you stew that down in heaps of annatto seed and peanut butter in the sauce. So it's really kind of thick and rich, and you'd have it with bagoong, so this fermented shrimp paste. So kare kare itself, the dish, the beef and peanut stew, is a little bit bland, and you need the bagoong, which is salty and like umami, to
Make it pop.
boost it. Yeah, exactly. Now imagine trying to get like an Aussie to suck on an oxtail and put some fermented shrimp on it with like peanut butter.
It's not
like that's not it's not a selling point. But we knew, like, as Filipinos, we know how great this dish is. Like, it's bloody delicious.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, how are we going to present this in a way that people would like be able to enjoy it as well? So we put it, we get like a steamed bao and we fry it, so it's a little donut. We fill it with a black garlic and the fermented shrimp, kind of butterscotch. And then we make literally a traditional kare kare. Like, my uncle taught me how to make it. And that goes into the donut as well, and then topped off with some crispy fried Chinese broccoli. So I was always taught, if it's weird and you want people to like it, put some crispy shit on it. Sorted. So it's like, it's this two-biter, and it encapsulates exactly what kare kare is. It's unctuous, it's rich, it's powerful, it's like an umami bomb.
Yum.
But it's also like, it's very pretty. It's something that you want to pick up and eat, compared to kare kare that's like usually just in this bowl like of sludge.
I think like that's one of the hardest selling points about Filipino food is a lot of it looks kind of like sludge.
Yeah.
So like to the normal person who's never tried it, it doesn't look appetizing.
I think, like, I see on Instagram and all that a lot, people saying, oh, Filipino food is always rated. They always rate it kind of like the lowest, one of the lowest in Southeast Asia. I think mostly, or partly, because it's just 50 shades of brown. Like, I don't think Filipinos learn how to use a fresh herb.
Right.
And I actually do believe that Filipino food can take some cues from like Thailand, from Vietnam, from Indonesia, and all that. Adding some freshness into there with some fresh herbs or garnishes or anything like that, like vegetables.
Got to combat the high blood sugar from the rest of the
Do we?
food.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. I think, yeah, it's Filipino food has also gotten that reputation that it's fried pork or roasted pork or a lot of sugar in things like sweet spaghetti. Like Italians be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
probably
I was about
find
to
that
rage.
really
Sweet
strange.
spaghetti with hot dogs.
Yeah.
I was
hot
about
dogs
to
and-
rage that.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's really good, actually. I should
Yeah.
make you some. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's
We'll see how we go.
we'll see what it is. Baby steps. But yeah, it's not the healthiest food in the world if that's all you're looking at. But I think also it's a misconception that Filipino food revolves around pork fat and rice. It's such a diverse country that if you go down south, where it's actually closer to Malaysia, a lot of their food is more Malay kind of based. Like we have our own version of rendang, we have our own version of sambal.
It's so diverse.
So diverse, and that's another thing actually we wanted to do with Askal is we wanted to be able to showcase all of these regions and show how diverse Filipino food can be, to the point where we actually do not have crispy pork on the menu, whether that's our detriment, but we just didn't want to have that stereotype. Although I am about to put a crispy fried pork on in a couple of weeks. I don't know when this podcast is airing, but it already might be on the menu.
Where do you see the cuisine over the next decade? Do you reckon? Where do you see the progression with Filipino cuisine?
Well, I think globally it's going to become more well known. I think it's going to start kind of becoming part of regular society. Like you already see Ube kind of dominating the market. Like everybody and their
Everyone's
dog
going
is
hard on
doing
Ube,
Ube.
yeah.
Oh my god!
It's the next matcha. The next
Ube
matcha.
and Pandan.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah, like especially in the States, but even here, like who was doing Ube last? But I was just in New Zealand. Like we went to Auckland a couple of weeks ago, and their Filipino food scene is really cool to see. I think they've got more Filipino restaurants, like neighborhood-based ones as well. And then a lot of people go there, which is really cool. So I feel like in New Zealand, there's a lot more people that know about Filipino food. Like one of their supermarkets had like Ube burger buns, and then another supermarket in another suburb like had proper like Ube and pandan flavored like pastries there. Like big major supermarket. I hope in Australia that it can be more of like a mainstay cuisine. Like right now it still feels like a bit of a niche.
Yeah.
Like people are going to go out to try Filipino food instead of going out to have Filipino food. So I hope that, with what Askal is doing and Sarai is doing and Kariton, and I could name, maybe 10 more, that we just become a staple. And then you also look at Manila. Like Manila's food scene is booming. It's growing, and I think that they're going to be some of the leaders in Filipino cuisine, and we'll look to them as to how to be more authentic. So yeah, I just hope that people. I hope firstly that Filipinos become more proud of who they are in their food. I hope that in 10 years' time, like, I don't have to hide our real Filipino food from my kids as friends.
Yeah.
I'm feeding you pork blood stew, buddy. Like, come here, like, open your mouth. Probably shouldn't say that. Like, that's the first and foremost, I think, how we're going to, as Filipinos, have a better mindset towards our culture, have better confidence.
I think that's important.
But I think we also need to chop down this like crab mentality that Filipinos typically inherit from their older generation. I think that, man, the hardest part about succeeding as a Filipino is that, like, other Filipinos don't typically want to see a success, and that they see as it's a threat to their own success. It's like, nah, man, we can freaking succeed together. You know, like, I'm here to help. I want, like, what I've learned, I want to impart onto you so that maybe you can take something from there and, like, succeed in your own journey. We're not here to tear each other down. We're not here to use each other as a stepping stone to greater things. Like, let's do this together.
That's interesting about the cultural thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that shift is, I think, already starting. Just based off like the people who I have met here, because I'm from Brisbane originally and I moved here 2 years ago. And a lot of the Filipinos who I have met here, like who are around my age, like everyone's just down to do stuff. Everyone's down to push being Filipino. And I think, yeah, like that shift is already starting. So I think it may not even be 5-10 years, maybe like 2 years. Yeah.
Hey, but we're always late, so
that's true.
Filipinos always late.
Yeah.
That's the stereotype. That's true.
The trend.
Yeah.
In general.
No, just in general. Like,
Just in general.
yeah. I was like, I left
Just on time.
Just on time.
Well, I was on time today, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
Usually late.
Yeah, there's something called Filipino time, and like when you get invited to a gathering, all the Filipinos will rock up like an hour late.
Yeah,
And
if
that's
you have like
Filipino time.
at church, like the Filipinos are always mostly standing because they're too late to get a.
They got late.
This
They're
seat, yeah.
late.
Or maybe it's just my family.
With now you've got your this restaurant. It's got a hat. I mean, you know, the other one before, you know, you said bomb, all that kind of stuff. What has success in life? How has that definition changed for you now compared to back then?
I think now I'm not too concerned with how people perceive me. That makes sense. Like, I still care about what people think, but more in that they had a great time at my venue. They were fed well, they drank well, they were well taken care of. If those three things have been met, like, it doesn't matter if we have a hat or not, or it doesn't matter if we're written up or on lists or whatever. If the guest is happy, we've done our job.
Right.
I think before, my idea of success was that I need to be front and center of like whatever magazine or
You want to be like a rock star chef.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want it to be a rock star. You want it to be popular.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, becoming a dad has helped me with that as well. Because now I have other priorities now, right? Like, I don't want to be at the restaurant all the time. I don't want to be slaving behind the kitchen or behind the stove all the time. So, in saying that, I don't also want to be in the limelight all the time. Like, I say to everyone, like, sometimes I just want to, like, not exist and be with my family and be with my kids. And but as long as my guests are still having a good time, because the team is doing an amazing job, and that's all I care about. That's my success. Yeah, like, all these opportunities to be in front of the camera, to do podcasts, and or, you know, to do events, and it's all great. It's all kind of sugar on top, but
Yeah.
that's my main priority, is just to make sure that you come into Askal and you leave there with a bigger smile than you walked in with.
Cool.
That's beautiful.
I'm gonna ask you some more kind of like rapid questions.
Yeah.
Now, just to wrap it up. But I think I can ask you this question that we ask a lot of our guests, the fancy question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, if you could collab with anyone, doesn't matter time, place, industry, anything, you know, it could be someone that's dead, someone's alive, who would it be?
I would have loved for it to be Margarita Flores. So she sadly passed away this year, but she kind of became like in a way, a mentor, but a bit of an auntie to me. So she was one of my judges. So Margarita was one of the pioneers of Filipino food, and documenting Filipino food in the Philippines. And she won Asia's Female Chef of the Year in 2017. And she was one of my judges in Milan for San Pellegrino Young Chef. And I was shitting myself because all of my research had been based off the book that she wrote. So for her to actually taste my dish and be really proud of it, and kind of in a way take me under her wing for a little bit, was amazing. And I always wanted to bring her here to Melbourne to be able to see how much, like what we've been able to build from what she's inspired me with. Sadly, she passed away suddenly this year, and we weren't able to bring her here. But yeah, I think that's the person I'd love to collaborate with.
Amazing, yeah, beautiful. Like that you won't be able to bring her here when you finally had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Bring her again. Here you go.
Describe fatherhood in one word.
Hectic. Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Sweet, salty, spicy, or sour?
Sweet. I've got high blood sugar.
Nice. What scares you most about business?
The tax office.
Shout out the ATO.
Shout out to ATO. Yeah.
Shout out the ATO.
Secret to going viral on social media?
Being yourself.
What's one ingredient you can't live without?
Salt, apparently.
Salt guy. Shout out. If you were to make someone try one Filipino dish, someone who has never tried it, what would you make them try?
Dinuguan, the pork blood stew.
Going deep.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do Filipino this or that food?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do this or that. Lumpia or pancit?
Lumpia. I actually don't like pancit.
That's crazy. Pancit is like a noodle.
That is a hot take. I'm going to get slaughtered for this.
Lumpia or leche flan?
Leche flan. That's the first thing my mum taught me how to cook. So it's, sorry, I'm going to get to it. I want tangent. I love leche flan. It's sentimental because my mum taught me how to cook it. But when I was young, because it's Filipinos make it with condensed milk. And, back then when you open a can, like, it's not like today where it's nice and smooth. It was like a freaking prison weapon, right? So I would fight her for the condensed milk can. And she had like a deep, and then she eventually yanked it off me, but she got a deep laceration in her thumb. And every time like we make leche flan at home, she still reminds me of it. And it's been like 28 years. Anyway, yeah.
That's beautiful. Leche flan or lechon?
Leche flan.
Leche flan or adobo?
Leche flan.
Leche flan or sinigang?
What kind of sinigang though?
Pork.
See, had you said like salmon, I would have probably said sinigang. But leche flan.
Leche flan or ube from Kariton?
You just leche flan. I'm sorry, man. Like
Leche flan is so powerful.
Hey, if you've
OP.
never had leche flan before, you'll understand why. Like,
Really. So
It sounds Spanish, leche flan.
yeah,
It's like milk flan.
yeah. So it was brought over by the Spanish, and we kind of just made it our own. I think we've like kind of fused it with like how so that we make ours with condensed milk and evaporated milk. So that kind of probably came when the Americans came. But yeah, a lot of our food, especially from like in like the north in the Luzon region, get a lot from like Spanish, from the 300 years of colonialism.
shout out. Last question. What counts as making it life?
Being happy. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Our
We
pleasure.
really
Thanks for having me.
appreciate it. It's been so good.
Appreciate it. Oh my god. Thank you.
Oh my god.